24 CR 737 is now called the state of Texas versus Adrian Tristan Bob Manning. Is that you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you were charged here in this indictment with the state jail felony in 24 CR 737 with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Do you understand? Now, Mr. Producer is here representing you, and there's a plea agreement that's been entered into. Does the defendant waive a formal reading of this indictment and arraignment here? Can we proceed in seconds? In summary, this indictment alleges that on or about December 19th of last year, 2023, in Jefferson County, Texas, you committed this state jail felony of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Do you understand what you're charged with? If convicted, you face confinement in the state jail for any term of not less than 180 days or more than 2 years. In addition, a fine may be assessed up to $10,000. Do you understand that?
So when you say, excuse me, when you say 2 years, what do you mean by it? Like, I know
That means between 1 and 3.
So that's
Years.
full punishment range that we have an agreement. So 180 days.
That's the punishment range for anyone charged with the crime of state jail felony. You can be sentenced up to 2 years in the state jail.
Yes, sir.
An agreement has been reached in your case. You would be pleading guilty and what is it, sentenced to 180 days, 6 months. Is that your understanding of the
Yes, sir.
agreement?
My understanding is 6 months time, sir.
What do you say?
6 months, then he gets credit for the time that he served.
That's not my business. The law says you get credit for all time you have served. The jail calculates that. We don't. We don't know. You know better. You know every day you've been in there, but that's the agreement, 180 days, correct? In the county jail. If I follow this agreement, you have no right of appeal. Then you get credit for all time that you've served. If I follow this, no right of appeal, how do you plea in this case, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, sir.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily, that is on your own free will, and because you are indeed guilty of what this alleges?
Yes, sir. For what I got locked up for, sir.
You know, I can't get the date on this thing. I know what the date is, but the date's not on. Generally, the date's on the bottom. All right. How do you plead to this charge, sir? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, sir.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily on your own free will because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
I show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 1 there. Did you sign that document voluntarily? Understand it, discuss it with your attorney, or the contents all true and correct? State's Exhibit 1 tendered into evidence
No objection.
without objection admitted. Among other things, this states you are mentally competent to enter your guilty plea, which is freely and voluntarily made. You know what you've been charged with. The indictment's been read to you. You've read it. You are guilty of the crime charged and any lesser included offenses. You are giving up your rights to a jury trial and the right to the confrontation, cross-examination of witnesses. You are totally satisfied with the representation provided by your lawyer. All of this is true. So help you God. Is that all true?
Yes, sir. Would there be any other pending charges or convictions? Because I did recently, I caught that charge in 2024 of actually December of 2023 going on 2024. I went to TDC holiday. I went to holiday TDC. I believe March the 24th of 2024. I caught a bench warrant. Well, I actually caught a short wave. I signed for 3 years. I caught a short wave for 2 years, sir. And then when I came back here, sir, when I got my short wave, I also got my bench warrant. I went to Larry Gish, sir, to be transferred to Jefferson County, sir. And I waited 2 months for this actual court date, sir. Which I'm not complaining. Like,
What's your point?
my point is, I feel like I could have did something like not actually but like the court, like who I had my recent court date, or like recent court date, or whatever you would like to call it. When I was getting my state time jail, when I was getting served the TDC time, sir. like I had to go to TDC and get a bench
Okay,
warrant and then go back to TDC.
Yeah, the executive branch of government calculates all that time, not the judicial branch. I'm in the judicial, the executive branch, that's the sheriff's office and the law enforcement, the prison authorities. They are the ones that calculate that. If you think it's wrong, you talk to your lawyer and I'll order a recalculation. But that's not something we determine. We can give you an idea of what we see in the computer. But we're the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and we are not the authorities that make the actual determination. The law says you get credit for time you have served in accordance with the charge.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you're getting credit for 2 and 3 different charges for serving time. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it depends on the processing, and that's not for us to determine. We don't determine that. We just assess, then you'll go back to the jail. They calculate it up there, and if there's a problem, that's when you talk to your lawyer. Okay,
All right, thank you.
all right.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, I'm going to find you were pleading guilty today voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted here to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this state jail felony. I'm following this agreement. You were hereby sentenced to confinement in the state jail for a term of 180 days. And
That's 60, that I can see. We didn't do a benchmark.
this vehicle that you took in this case,
There's no restitution, Your Honor.
this vehicle you took, do you know who owned it?
No, sir.
How did you choose that person to victimize?
Sir, like, I necessarily don't know, sir, like.
Do you see anything wrong with that? Do you know a vehicle, you drove it to death here. One, it ended up with one tire and lost a tire and anyway, have you ever owned a motor vehicle?
Yes, sir.
A motor vehicle is generally the second most expensive piece of property we ever own, our home. Have you ever owned a home?
No, sir.
All right, well, these people spent their money, they owned a home, they owned a car, and you don't even know who these people are. You just pick something at random to harm, to hurt people, to steal, and I mean, you drove it to death. The car was kind of wrecked out, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Do you see anything wrong in this?
With driving the car.
No, do you see any, are you telling me you got some doubts about whether what you did was wrong?
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
terribly wrong, isn't it?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
ashamed of yourself? I mean, do you regret this? Do you feel sorry for the people who lost their property in this case?
Sir, when you.
It's a yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Or are you going to do this sort of thing again?
You know what I'm saying?
Why not?
That's what.
You did it first time. Why wouldn't you do it again? Did you learn a lesson?
So just listen.
Did you learn a lesson?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
The whole lesson.
What was the lesson?
To treat others' property as your own, just like
All right. all right.
this case.
Good for you. Okay, you learned something. Don't do this again. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
That is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we keep it working like Oouchie the boss. We tryna catch out like we hit us a fault. We gotta win, ain't taking no loss.